Welcome to Historic Living, Modern World. I'm your host, Gregory Shelton. Today we're going to be building a beautiful bench out of cedar wood. It's a live edge. It has a colonial style, which I love, and I'm going to show you how to make it. We recently did a tour of Mount Harmon Plantation. We did an amazing video of it. If you haven't seen it, there'll be a link at the end of this video to check it out. When we did the tour, we went around the inside of the house, we went around the outside on the grounds, and I fell in love with a live edge natural bench that was outside one of the outbuildings. It was simple. It was made with thick hardwood. It looks like it could outstand and outlive anybody. It looked colonial, and I can't wait to make it myself, and I'm going to show you how to make it today. So to start this project, design's incredibly important. I did a sketch as I always do, but it really starts with the wood. One of my best buddies by the name of Jeff Kammerzelt, he's an expert in wood. I went over to his place. He helped me find the best piece of wood that's going to build a strong bench and last for a lifetime. Jeff.
Hey, how are you doing?
Man?
Nice to see you. I got those sketches you sent me there earlier. It's an interesting project. Some pretty good beefy benches you got there.
It is. I took some time to make a sketch to show you where my head is, but I really need your skill set to make this a cooler project because we're looking at what they would have used back in the colonial days. I know a lot of times they use whatever's on their property, and I know you're going to recommend a great wood that's going to weather well, it's going to get a nice great patina, but it's going to stand up to the elements.
Yeah, there's definitely lots of native species around here. Some are going to rot in a year, some will last a lifetime. So let's check out what we've got around here, see what you'd like. All right, so if you follow me over here, I've got a couple things we can look at.
Okay.
This is white oak right up here.
Well, that sounds great. It's a good hardwood, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It weathers really well. It's going to last years and years outside.
Okay.
This one's pretty big here, but we've got some smaller ones we could look at if you wanted as well. It is really, really hard and heavy, so it's a little hard to work with, hard to machine and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But it would weather very well outside.
Jeff, when we talk about drying for a wood like this, what kind of checking are we going to see?
Yeah, so there'll be some checking with green wood like this before it dries. It wouldn't be too bad with white oak. This is a very high demand for like trailer decking and things like that, so it'd probably work well.
Okay, let's go check out some other woods.
Okay, sounds good. Follow me. Yeah, so over here, Greg, I've got a couple other things, some black walnut.
Okay. So Jeff, tell me a little bit about the black walnut and why this may be something great for our project.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful wood, has a lot of character in the grain. It's great for interior work, cabinetry and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm not sure how well it weathers outside though. It may rot and start to fall apart within a couple of years. There's some other woods that are better for outdoors.
Right. So you know that from the sketch I gave you, we're really looking at a colonial, very rustic, table-like bench. We do want it to stay. We don't want it to take a chance in a year and 2 years rotting. So maybe black walnut might not be what we want. But what type of idea would it be for the moisture side of things?
Yeah, so there are some that are some species that are very moisture resistant. Locust is kind of the top tier.
Okay.
That'll last forever, basically.
Really? Super hard wood, right?
Very, very hard.
Great burning wood too.
Yeah, great burning. There's also another one called Osage orange. That doesn't grow too large, unfortunately. I don't get a whole lot of it. But I do have some other stuff over here if you want to take a walk with me again, and we can check out what we got.
Let's go see what we got.
So over here I have some stuff that might be great for your table, for the outdoor version of it. This is, I'm not sure if it's a red or white cedar, but they're both about the same rot resistance. Okay. And they do wonderful outside, and they're also bug resistant.
Gotcha, because I'd imagine that we know that cedar is something that most people will have as the inside of a cupboard or something like that, essentially to stop any kind of insect.
Absolutely, yeah. It's toxic to bugs, so they don't eat it, or if they do, they pay the price.
Gotcha.
But it is also fairly weather and water resistant as well.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of oils in there that prevent the water from absorbing into it and rotting the wood.
Understood. Jeff, I think we've actually found our wood. This looks almost like the width that we're going to use. Can we just use this wood?
Absolutely, yeah. And like I said, this should be perfect for you here. Let's get to it.
What's the next stage? We're going to be cutting this down on the mill?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get it dug out of here. I'll run over to the mill and we'll start cutting.
Love it. Let's do it.
All right.
So Jeff, we have 3 pieces of beautiful wood. Tell me what we have.
Yeah, so I've got the big 6-inch tabletop for you, or top for you here. This one's about 6 inches thick. It's going to be a nice beefy piece for you, but light enough that you can handle it, being red cedar. And I've got the 2 pieces over here we can use for leg stock. I'll give you a couple different dimensions to try, and some good character in there as well to make it look real authentic.
Yeah, so we have, I love the natural curve here for someone from a comfortability standpoint. It should make a great top for the bench, and I love the fact that, like you said, you got some imperfections, but this is meant to be incredibly rustic, and I think this is perfect for our Colonial Bench. Appreciate your help.
Yep, thank you.
We have the wood selected. Jeff taught us that really cedar for this project is going to be the best wood. It's loaded with oils, which is going to preserve the wood. It's a strong wood. It smells amazing, by the way. Fresh cedar smells unbelievable. But it's really a wood that bugs do not like. And when we talk about something that's going to stay outside for about 3 of the seasons, you really want something that bugs don't like. That's what's really going to keep this thing intact. And if you're building something, although it's a really thick piece of wood, if we use something that wasn't impenetrable, it would be a walnut, this thing might fall apart in 1 season. Cannot have that. It's got to be strong. So we have the right wood. Jeff helped us on that. So as you can see, we have a nice thick piece of wood, which will be the top. And we've already started. I worked with a wonderful friend who's a woodworker, which we've done a past segment with him, by the name of Franco Fragapani. Franco's a friend of mine, and he's one of the best woodworkers in the biz. And he worked with me to get this started to save some time for you guys so we can get this thing done and I can teach you how to build it. So, looking at what we've done so far, it's important to see this. You can see two holes here. So we recessed the inside of the right side of the bench. And what we did with this, we did a mix of historic and modern, which of course is the name of the show. So we used chisels and old hammers to really carve out about 3 inches first. Then we took a router to finish this because this is a standard mortise and tenon. So we have 2 of those because this is the bottom of the bench. And then we're going to have the legs that come out, and they're going to be 2 solid legs because you need something substantial that's going to hold this big piece of wood. So here they are. 1 and number 2. Okay, so let's look at these. I see a lot of interesting things here. So we talk about a joinery. This is incredibly important. And when you would have done a colonial bench in the 18th or 19th century, this is how you would have done it. You would have done it with chisels, and we worked with chisels and we worked with routers and a couple other modern technologies, but we really use a mix of both, which I think is what's important. Another design element, which I believe when designing and being a creative, I believe whenever you can add some type of creativity to something, you always should do it. You always should put your own signature and personalization on something. A normal colonial bench would probably have this little underpart here as a circular, just a kind of a half moon shape. We add a little teardrop shape here. It has a little bit of almost like a Middle Eastern design, which I think looks really beautiful. And it's going to add a little a personalized touch to this. But the legs are both the same. They're going to fit into the top. We're going to put dowels in them, which again is going to make this thing impenetrable when you put it as a bench. We are going to add a little bit of wood glue to make sure it's sturdy, but really from the visibility of someone looking at the bench, it's going to look like a colonial person put this together. All right, let's get to making this bench. Okay, we have our legs as I showed you. So what we're going to be doing first, we're going to be using standard wood glue. Now this is important because when this hardens, this bench again will be able to hold anything. So what I like to do is make sure you have in both sides. I did letter these so we know that the A fits in the A hole, the B sits in the B hole. That's incredibly important because when we dug these out and we routed them specifically for these legs. If you switch them around accidentally, you are going to have problems. Make sure you think about that. It's important to make sure you don't mess that up. Okay, so we're going to put some wood glue in the bottom of this. Okay, you want to fill the cavity up first, and then you want to get the mortise and tenon part glued on too. This is important. A nice thin layer will get into the crevices and make sure the bond is incredibly strong. So I also designed this so the curve goes around to the side. And this is a design element that I think is very important when you look at the overall look of your bench. we are going to put a wood dowel in this. Now, we already pre-drilled holes here, so we're going to put dowels in both legs. We're going to put the second leg on, and then after that, we're going to put the dowels in, and it's going to be on the road for a sturdy bench. So when building a bench like this, there's a lot of ways to do joinery. Today we decided to do a mortise and tenon and a backup of a dowel. Now I want to show you exactly, this is the dowel they're going to use. These are pre-done, but this type of dowel is really going to provide some sturdiness to the bench. All right, now it's time to put some glue on it. Again, if it comes out, not a big deal. You want to be generous with it. So insert the dowel. Okay, got a nice rubber mallet here. Next step is to take a standard grinder, and we're going to take the really sharp edges down because this has to be comfortable. I have to say I'm incredibly happy with my Colonial cedar wood bench. It's going to fit our house nicely. It's going to be all over the property. I can't wait to make more of them. If you like what you've seen today, make sure you click like and subscribe, and make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram. This is Gregory Shelton with Historic Living Modern World, reminding you whenever you do something, always work to move people. Cheers.